Hello, friends. Welcome back. UFC 321 this Saturday. Very spooky. Had a spooky past couple UFC events, honestly, but UFC 321 is going to be truly spooky. What do I mean by that? I think that despite the odds, despite some people maybe being clear picks, clear favorites, I think that this is a fucking terrifying card. Everyone really has a chance on this one. There's some unknowns here. Some people I do think are going to get backed out calmly. I'm going to be backing some big dogs in this motherfucker. I also think that there's some odds that are simply wrong. But we'll get there when we get there. I hope to see you guys this Saturday. Obviously, UFC 321, I will be live on this channel doing a UFC fight companion. Meaning, I'll be watching all of the fights and streaming exactly from this angle, exactly from this setup. Probably be turned over more like this and be like, oh, the fights, Hamdy Abdelwahab getting his ass beat. But you shall see on Saturday. Also, nothing about Saturday. It's going to be early. UAE card, Abu Dhabi card. So, you know what that means. Shit's going to start at like 10 a.m. Which is fine, actually. I really like the early UFC fights. You know, it leaves you with a nice Saturday night to enjoy. Without further ado, I think that's enough for the little intro ramble. Jaqualine and Amorim. I actually don't remember if her name was Jaqualine Amorim or either way. But Jaqualine Amorim versus Mizuki Inoue. Now, Mizuki Inoue, despite having 3 fights in the UFC, I don't actually think I've ever seen her fight. And she's had a very strange level of activity. That actually sounds a little bit deceptive. That may make you think that she's fighting a lot. But in reality, no. She's actually had multiple layoffs. It's very strange. A lot of inactivity that concerns me with Mizuki. And I didn't really seem to find an explanation for it, which makes it worse. The last note that I really have written on Mizuki Inoue, not to say that I read off the notes top to bottom, but I think this is important to say. It's hard to say where Mizuki Inoue is at. It's a lot easier to say where Jaqualine Amorim's at, who is going to be the pick here. Who's going to be the pick kind of already, but Jaqualine Amorim, good career track. She had a nice run in LFA. She's low-key been a prolific finisher throughout her entire career, and that's continued into the UFC. She does have some decent wins in the UFC as well. And like I said, those are finishes. Those are finishes. Her only loss as a professional and in the UFC, which took place in the UFC, I meant to say, was to Sam Hughes. And we know Sam Hughes is one of the chicks that will fraud check you. She's actually good despite what anybody else will say. She's very good at fraud checking. That's what she does. Just, I think, the recent activity for Jaqualine Amorim, the momentum, the kind of form that Jaqualine Amorim is in. She's been subbing girls in round 1 and round 2, honestly, getting them the fuck up out of there. Mizuki, from what I've researched, is actually a grappler herself, and not too shabby, but everything surrounding that, the inactivity, Jaqualine's activity, Jaqualine's finishing form, I gotta go with Jaqualine, with Amorim here. I think that's pretty calm, and I'm gonna go with it. No, there's not gonna be we're not gonna have to wait until the end for the rounded method of victory. Jaqualine Amorim is gonna win this one by round 1 submission, I believe. Maybe round 2, or maybe it's a TKO, but specifically by ground and pound. Like, it's not like a normal KO TKO. I can say that. Moving on. Azat Maksum versus Mitch Raposo. This should actually be way better than people expect it to be. Azat Maksum might get him out early. Mitch Raposo maybe fucking shocks the world and KOs Azat Maksum, but I don't think that's going to happen. The pick for this one is going to be Azat Maksum by decision. Here's why. Mitch Raposo really hasn't had the worst stint in the UFC, despite not winning. He's lost all of his fights in the UFC. But the dudes he fought were okay. You know, man fought Sumu Darji and Andre Lima. Andre Lima has actually shown himself to be a legitimate prospect. Sumu Darji is a dangerous fighter, at least. You know, maybe reckless, maybe unpredictable, but is a dangerous fighter. I do think that Mitch Raposo is definitely good enough to be a dog here that you can consider. Unfortunately for him, Azat Maksum... Actually, I can't remember the fight. There was a fight. Azat Maksum, despite having a losing record in the UFC at 1-2, Man actually has looked good, and one of those losses could arguably be a win. Man, people do say he was robbed. I can't believe why this is slipping my mind just now. Who robbed Azat Maksum? Who robbed Azat Maksum? Or who was given a robbery win over Azat Maksum? Azat Maksum was the spooky dude. In my first picks and prediction video that I saw where he made his debut, I was like, if you just look on Tapology, like the picture where he's holding like he's holding something, you can see his knuckles are like fucking crazy. His knuckles are like half the length of like his finger. It's fucking insane. 4 wins by KO TKO and 5 by Subby. Oh yeah, here we go. Tagiru Linbekov. I'd say that he beat Tagiru Linbekov. That fight was close as fuck, actually. And a loss to Charles Johnson is more than acceptable type shit. But what the fuck just happened? That he's going to be the more technical fighter here. I think he's going to be the faster fighter here. Also, Azat Maksum slightly bigger than Mitch Raposo. A lot of people hate on Mitch Raposo. I think it's because they honestly haven't seen anything good from him. I do think that is fair to say, though. That's objectively true to say. Man isn't the most... Man doesn't really push a high pace. He's just good enough all around, I think, to make himself a live dog, is Mitch Raposo. But I do see Azat Maksum winning this one by decision. Maybe he finishes him. A finish could go either way here. I'm leaning more towards Azat, but by decision. Moving on. So what's kind of the first Spooky Hours fight of the night, but it's for the worst reasons known to man. We're talking about Chris Barnett versus Hamdy Abdelwahab. Please forgive me if I'm mispronouncing that. I've went back and forth on this one, actually, way more than I should have. I feel like, way more time than I should have even been researching this. There's going to be a theme that I think is going to break out throughout this video, essentially, but I'm done. I'm tired, boss. I don't give a fuck anymore. I don't give a fuck about pick rate. I don't give a fuck about 3-9, 3-10, 3-11 on a card. Mate, I could give a monkeys, mate. I could give a fucking monkeys, mate. Let's say all that to say this. I'm going with this man, Chris Barnett, actually, by round 1 KO TKO. Here's why. Hamdy Abdelwahab, I actually genuinely think that Chris Barnett is the better fighter between the two of them. Like, just skill for skill. Like, if you could somehow suck all the skill and technique out of their bodies and inject them into, like, a human being that's, like, the same exact size. Like, 2 clones, essentially. 2, like, 6 feet tall, 180-pound clones. The Chris Barnett infused one is going to be better. If you can follow that train of thought, I think you'll understand the pick completely. Chris Barnett actually can strike, at least. You know, man's fought a fuck ton. Hamdy Abdelwahab has fought 5 times. He has a little bit of an amateur career as well. But I feel like Hamdy just can't be picked. He can't be picked in this spot, even though it's against this dude, Chris Barnett. And I mean zero disrespect by that. Chris Barnett is pushing 40. He was already small as fuck for his weight class. It's really because he's a big guy. A heavy guy that he's there. He looked like dog shit in his last fight, and that's for multiple reasons. 1, Kennedy Njoku is actually a pretty good fighter. 2, Chris Barnett, I forget what exactly it was, but he was also recovering from an injury that he sustained recently. That really fucks with Chris Barnett's movement. If you watch Chris Barnett fight, man is the striker, and he relies on kind of deceptive speed, deceptive blitzes, like deceptive attacks. I really don't know. I might look like a fool for the Chris Barnett pick, but another thing is I feel like I'll look like a bigger fool for picking Hamdy Abdelwahab and Hamdy loses than if I pick Chris Barnett and Chris Barnett loses. I'm fine with that. We move on. Chris Barnett by round 1 KO TKO. To Spooky Hours. Spooky Hours actually continues for a while, but... Or no, it's going to take a little break after this, but then it picks back up. Spooky Hours 2, really. The first real Spooky Hours, though. Jose Delgado versus Nathaniel Wood. Holy shit, man. Again, back and forth on this one. Jose Delgado, we've seen since he started in the UFC, man, is actually pretty fresh on the scene. Loki entering his prime at 27 years old type shit. A little bit bigger than Nathaniel Wood in terms of height and reach. Height is a little bit more noticeable than the reach, but there is a discrepancy there. Both guys are kind of prospects. I actually wrote it down in my notes. It's hard to call Nathaniel Wood a prospect. Man has 12 fights. This is going to be his 13th fight in the UFC. You know, Man, yeah, man has 9 wins. He's 9-3 as a professional in the UFC. At one point, do we stop calling you a prospect? His nickname is literally the prospect, Nathaniel Wood, that we're talking about here. But I don't know, Jose Delgado seems to be one of those dudes, like, extremely fucking dangerous, early on especially, lethal striker. I would probably give Nathaniel Wood the slight nod in grappling if I had to. And, man, Nathaniel Wood has been grappling somewhat actively, like, solely grappling. I think Nathaniel Wood is the better all-around fighter, which is really the basis of this pick. I also think he's a really, really good fighter in general, and he's not a prospect anymore. Man is a veteran of the UFC at 12 fights. And at 32 years old, he's really not too up there. There's questions about Nathaniel Wood's chin, his ability to take shots from Jose Delgado. I and no one on the fucking internet can reassure you about that until you actually watch that fight. No one can guess and say how Nathaniel Wood's going to take these shots. Maybe it doesn't bother him at all. Maybe he gets dropped off rip, finished in round 1 like Jose's past 2 opponents. But another thing that's actually scary about Jose Delgado is this man actually really has insane timing, too. The timing of Jose Delgado is fucking phenomenal. And that's let him use one of his biggest weapons so far, which are his knees. Man, Jose Delgado will throw a dangerous knee, a perfect knee, perfect time, cracks people in the chin, cracks them to the body, and then fucks them up. It's impressive, man. It really is impressive, man. It's fast, strong, good size for the weight class. It's just tough. It's tough here. Nathaniel Wood, however, has, without a shadow of a doubt, fought way better people, miles apart in terms of caliber of opponent faced previously. Man's coming off of a great win against a spooky dude in fucking Morgan Charrier, if y'all remember him. I feel like we haven't seen him in forever. And he was not fighting on, that was UFC Canada, that wasn't UFC Paris, but feels like it's been a minute, but either way, man's not on the card, so we're not going to talk about him. The pick is Nathaniel Wood by round 2 submission. I think that Jose Delgado, there's going to be a combination of surprise. And no, it might be mainly surprise. What I mean by that is I think that after round 1, Jose Delgado might be a little bit surprised that Nathaniel Wood was able to take what he threw at him. Nathaniel Wood slowly is able to work the grappling, maybe make Jose Delgado miss a lot more than he was previously, and we go from there. Actually, now that I say it out loud, I'm kind of a little bit less certain of the round 2 submission. I'm actually going to change that. I'm going to say Nathaniel Wood by decision. By decision, Jose Delgado's power falls off. Maybe not as dramatically as that sentence would lead you to believe, but I do think it's going to fall off. It's going to dwindle, and Nathaniel Wood will survive that. Complete chance that I'm absolutely wrong, man, gets KO'd in the first round. But Nathaniel Wood by decision, that's the pick. Moving on to one that I'm not going to spend too much time on, Walter Walker versus Louis Sutherland. This was remade, kind of. Walter Walker, I don't believe, was the original opponent for Louis Sutherland. They were supposed to fight a week or two ago. By they, I mean Louis Sutherland, and I believe it was Mo Usman. I believe it was Mohammed Usman. And I think that fight would have been all right. I don't know if that fight would have been a really good fight, but that's a fair matchup. Decent. I'm like hunched over here. It's the only way. It might look like it's natural in frame, but no, I actually sit upright like that. So excuse that. I'm going with Walter Walker here by round 1 submission. Man, it's a little bit of a tentative pick, as Walter Walker has shown us already. He's shown us he can do that. He's pulled off multiple round 1 heel hooks. So now I start getting into like this superstitious, like the anti-trend, the meta-trend. Like, man has been doing it. I actually don't think it's going to continue. Like, what are the chances that he does it again? Like, man's due to not do it in that sense. Schizo talk, schizo babble. Still, round 1 submission, I don't give a fuck. Like I said, mate, I could give a monkeys, mate. I could give a monkeys about pick rate anymore, mate. Abdul Karim Al-Salwadi versus Mateus Camilo. Actually, I'm not sure how that one's pronounced either, as man's Brazilian, but I don't even have to go over this one, and this is good because for some reason, this was such a bad vibe to pick. It was like fucking a horrible vibe. It was like, I was actually considering tossing a coin, but That fight got canceled. It literally got canceled as I was picking the fights actively. So, very fire, very fire. We get to skip that one. Moving on, Mateusz Rebecki versus Ludovic Klein. We're going with Ludovic Klein here by round 2 KO, TKO, DQ. I think Mateusz Rebecki will be able to hold on. I don't think Ludovic Klein will also go out there and really catch him nasty in round 1. By him, I mean Mateusz Rebecki, obviously. There's some things that we could talk about here. Shared opponents, specifically Roosevelt Roberts. I'm actually not going to mention it as much. But I do think that this is a deceptively favorable matchup for Ludovic Klein. Multiple things. Massive reach difference between these two fighters. Nice kind of stylistic matchup for Ludovic Klein, I think. Mateusz Rebecki is a striker. He will grapple if he has to, but he likes to bully people with striking a little bit. But I don't know if that's going to work necessarily. Ludovic Klein looking decent, really. Looking decent. But the biggest thing is Mateusz Rebecki is making quick turnarounds from fights that he's taken a fuck ton of damage in. Win or lose. It doesn't matter. There is something to be said about that. A lot of people are mentioning that, especially online. But it's because it has to be mentioned. It has to be mentioned. Decent wins and losses does Mateusz Rebecki have, but I just think that this fight, there's multiple things besides the style that are working in favor for Ludovic Klein. Moving on. Nasrat Haqparast versus Killian Salkild. I've been fading Killian Salkild. I hate these fucking oceanic fighters. I hate these safe, sleazy-looking fighters with the mullets, with the fucking curly hair and the mustaches. Stop that shit now! Why do these I've never seen professional athletes, right, I was almost going to say getting paid millions. These dudes are getting paid fucking nothing, but I've never seen professional athletes, at least, ford public-facing personas, you know? Literal athletes that tried so hard to look like shit. And trust, it's not just an Australian problem, but it's just like, in Australia, I know they love that fucking look. They love that shit. The Bushwick look, that Williamsburg look, that weird fucking safe, sleazy bullshit. This rant actually might even be cut completely out of the video. It has no place in it, really, but fade the public. Fuck Killian Salkild. Fuck Jack Jenkins. I actually think that there's genuinely a little bit of this Jack Jenkins effect. What's the Jack Jenkins effect, you might ask? Something that I came up with myself. It's when a dude like Jack Jenkins, for example, is given crazy fucking odds every fight, and yet he struggles. He wins, don't get me wrong. He wins. Jack Jenkins is actually coming off a spectacular win. But man has been placed at like minus 300, minus 400, minus 500 favorite, and literally fought dudes tooth and fucking nail. Multiple times. That's not acceptable. Never. It never was. It never was fucking acceptable. Killian Salkild, though, is a worse version of that. It's a more intense version of that. Jack Jenkins, at least, there's something there. But Killian is like, they're praying. By they, I mean the UFC, they pray that Killian finishes the bums that they give him. Holy shit. His best win. Killian Salkild's best fucking win is over Anshul Jubli. Like, you should remember that. Like, Nasrat Haqparast, on the other hand, is a legitimate UFC fighter. I take that one back. Not to say that Killian Salkild is not a legit UFC fighter. He, of course, is. Nasrat, though, has just been fighting different dudes. Man was fake developed in the UFC. This will be his 15th UFC fight. That man has more fights in the UFC than fucking Killian has as a pro-am fighter. Like, and Nasrat's still in his prime, man. He kind of did have maybe a little bit of a stinker in his last one, but it's nowhere near as bad as you'll read online. When you read these motherfuckers, they're like, yo, he looked like shit. Like, man went to war with this bum. Stop it. We don't give a monkeys, mate. We don't give a fucking monkeys anymore. Holy shit, man. Nasrat Haqparast by decision. We're smoking on Killian Salkild. We're smoking on all safe, sleazy bums. If you have that mullet and fucking mustache combo, I'm coming for you, okay? And I might not come for you, but I'm going to pray on your fucking downfall. I'm going to pray on your downfall legitimately. Like, this shit, I'm going to be holding it at night, praying for your fucking downfall. Schizo talk over. Nasrat Haqparast by decision. You know the vibe. You know the fucking vibe. Just look at who they fought. I don't want to fucking hear this shit, man. It's getting me upset, actually. Also, these fights might be a little bit out of order, but that's because they switched some shit up. Moving on. Ikram Aliskerov versus Jun Young Park, the Iron Turtle. This is actually one of the most painful fights and hardest fights for me to pick on the card. Low-key, a bit of the people's main event as well, actually. There's actually one more that I'd say is kind of that, even though. Anyways, I digress. Ikram Aliskerov versus Jun Young Park, the Iron Turtle, man. Followers of the channel know how much I fuck with the Iron Turtle. Iron Turtle has gotten us paid multiple times. Ikram has also gotten us paid only once when I called his bum ass getting knocked out by Robert Whittaker. I want to pick Jun Young Park so bad. So bad. Every fiber in my being wants to pick him. Why? Because Jun Young Park can actually strike a little bit. Man has an insane chin and insane cardio. The chin scares me. I've talked about it multiple times. Having a chin is a blessing and a curse. There's only one way to use it. You know, you have to really understand the concept of like, if someone has a chin, how do you find that out? Oh, they got punched in the face really hard to the level that it would put normal guys out. It would knock them the fuck out, but they stayed up. How do we know that someone has a crazy chin? That happens a fuck ton. There gets to a certain point, though, where it's not going to be like that anymore. That shit's going to be cracked. No one lasts forever. No one's fucking invincible. If you could follow that train of thought, you'll see where it finishes. I'm just going to let you finish it yourself, essentially. Jun Young Park. It really hurts to pick against this man, bro. Ikram Aliskerov, slightly bigger. The big reason why I'm kind of also going with Ikram here is not the size advantage. It's the fact that Ikram himself is actually a bit of a wrestler, a bit of a grappler. If I knew that Jun Young Park was able to take down, or if I thought that he could take down Ikram Aliskerov consistently, reliably, like easily, whatever you want to call it, completely different. I might actually even go with him for finish. And the finish for him is still on the table. Man could get a late round 3 sub. He could maybe even get a KO TKO. We don't know how chinny Ikram is, really. But I don't know, man. And it's not like Jun Young Park, though. If you look, man actually should be on like a fucking 8-fight win streak, Jun Young Park. He should be 10-2 in the UFC. He's 9-3. Man's fight against Andre Muniz was... The judges said he lost that fight. I don't think he lost that fight. That was a bit back. But he came back after that. Man's put together multiple wins, couple finishes, I think, even in there. Maybe one finish only in there since then. But that was like 3 fights ago. So, 3 fights ago was the Andre Muniz shit. That's what I'm talking about. His last fight against this dude, Ismail Nardiev, I remember. That was actually a crazy one. And that kind of reminds me of the thought I want to get out there before I move on. Jun Young Park has gotten to show his chin in his fights, man. And for better and for worse. We've seen that he can take shots and stay up, but I've seen him take monstrous amounts of punishment, and I don't like it. Like I said, there's going to be a time where that can't fly anymore. It might not be this time. He maybe eats everything that Ikram has, walks through him. Like, walks him down, takes him down, chokes him out. It might be crazy. I just don't. I can't go with that. I can't go with those thoughts. Too much. Even though, kind of, by going against it, I'm going with the same fundamental concept, just flipped. Oh, fuck. And that also brings it to the official round and method of victory pick, which is, I got this man Ikram Aliskerov by round 3 KO TKO. I could see Jun Young Park and Ikram Aliskerov going at it, back and forth fight for the first 2 rounds, maybe 1-1, maybe one dude has like both rounds, but just barely. But just over time, Ikram's the one landing more strikes, you know, he's touching the chin, and I don't know if that can happen. I don't know if that could happen. So round 3, KO TKO for Ikram Aliskerov. Actually, fuck. Thinking about switching it to the decision pick. No, I'm going to keep it. Round 3 KO TKO. Moving on to a fight that I'm extremely hyped for as well. Alexander Rakic versus Azat Mirzakhanov. Multiple things are true with this fight that also not necessarily contradict each other. They're at odds. Alexander Rakic has fought a completely different level of competition throughout his career and recently than Azat Mirzakhanov. That's absolutely true. Alexander Rakic himself does not look like the same dude he was fucking 2 years ago, 3 years ago. That's also true. Azat Mirzakhanov has the power to fucking kill Alexander Rakic in one punch. That's definitely true. Alexander Rakic is recovering from an injury and is on a 3-fight skid. 2 fights ago, he got KO TKO'd in a fight that he kind of was winning. That's true. But Alexander's looked okay despite the losses. I'm going with Azat Mirzakhanov here by round 1 KO TKO, though. Azat Mirzakhanov knows how to get in there. He knows how to make up for his kind of smaller stature for his weight class and get in close, get into the pocket, and KO people. Azat Mirzakhanov is going to do what this motherfucker Bakoyev should have done last week. That's what I'm going to say here. That motherfucker really is going to do what Bakoyev should have done last week. This is a tale of two forms, honestly, here. Azat Mirzakhanov also has a very spooky finish rate. I do think he's going to get another finish in this fight. He's 15-0 as a professional fighter. 5 of those 15 wins have come in the UFC. He's no slouch, and he's beaten some good dudes in the UFC. Not the best dudes, but dangerous dudes. He's beating very dangerous dudes, very slick strikers. Sometimes not together in the same sentence, but sometimes, yeah, actually. But Azat Mirzakhanov, round 1 KO TKO. That is the pick. Moving on. Alexander Volkov versus Jaqualine Almeida. If you didn't know already, if you couldn't guess already, last fight was spooky hours too, as in TOO. But this fight is also spooky hours. Alexander Rakic versus Jaqualine Almeida. Now, I'm going with Alexander. I said Alexander Rakic, didn't I? I'm going with Alexander Volkov versus Jaqualine Almeida. Alexander Volkov is you got to think. Has to be the better striker. He has to be. He fucking has to be. Otherwise, no one knows what they're watching. Jaqualine Almeida, unbelievably dominant fighter, actually. Just really gets a lot of flack for his style of fighting. Just literally how it watches, how it plays out on TV. Not seen as the most entertaining, despite getting finishes. He gets finishes in that motherfucker. Not too far off from age. This is kind of an El Clasico matchup, like a striker versus a grappler. Alexander Volkov getting a little bit old, and I don't even know if I should say this, but I was reading on Tapology too. Some dude, and please let this be a lesson. If you post on Tapology and you post little not insider information, but if you hear something like this, right? You see it in a video, you hear it, you see a tweet or some shit. Can you give us let us know where to find it, motherfucker? What am I talking about? A motherfucker on Tapology was just saying, Joe Pyfer said that he saw Volkov at the UFC PI this week and he was having a midlife crisis. I want to know that, but I want to know where's your source? Cite your fucking source, bro. No one knows what you're talking about, bro. Did that come to you in a dream? No one knows what you're talking about, bro. Fuck, man. The real question is, how does Alexander Volkov win this fight? There's another thing I want to talk about, Jaqualine Almeida. Spooky, spooky, spooky. Not too spooky, honestly. I think this is actually a little bit overblown in the MMA community. Very recently, might have even been today or yesterday, there was footage that leaked from... Not even leaked. Leaked is a big mistake. Everyone's saying that this footage leaked. It was released on purpose. It was released in a YouTube video. Delivered none other by Tom Aspinall himself. I'm going to put the footage in here. But the little, for this mini segment, the title of this mini segment is Jaqualine Can't Fight. Jaqualine Can't Fight. ASMR, Jaqualine Can't Fight. Featuring Daniel Cormier. Why? Because this motherfucker Daniel Cormier in a vlog, in Tom Aspinall's UFC 321 Media Day vlog, they're doing something, right? They're talking in an interview. The interview ends or whatever, right? And DC just goes up to him. Well, he's still mic'd up, hot mic. It is a hot mic, 100%. Man's mic'd up. And he starts whispering Also, Daniel Cormier, fucking fantastic ASMR voice. I say that unironically. That's something that some of you maybe don't know. That's real deep in the not nice coal iceberg, in the nice coal iceberg. ASMR. I'm a big consumer of ASMR. Huge consumer of ASMR. Probably one of the biggest on this fucking platform. And I mean that, literally. Like, I've made ASMR videos, just never released them, actually. And maybe one I did release, but I deleted it. You cannot see that. But I digress. Daniel Cormier starts whispering. Tom's like, yep. Oh, you really think so? You really think so? Thank you. And I'm going to play the footage now, actually.
Jumps in this division. Like, what type of run you can go on.
Yeah, man.
You can go crazy. You can, like, change your life.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, what is who outmade this fight? Sir, Jaqualine can't fight.
Who do you think's going to win?
Jaqualine, I don't know.
I think Volkov, probably.
Yeah, but even Amorim, you beat him in the first round. It's like, it can crazy.
Yeah.
Bro, you're on the verge of some crazy shit.
I appreciate it. I'm going to
keep working hard, though.
Thanks, bro.
You got to keep working hard.
Thank you. I will do. Listen, I'm working harder now than I ever was.
When things like that, like, doesn't come around often, right? It's like when I got to fight Vulcan. I had to defend the belt against Vulcan Ozdemir one time, man.
You couldn't believe you looked.
Did I win the lottery, son? Well, they were like, hey, man, we think you get to fight Vulcan. I'm like, yes, I'll take it.
I just find this funny, right? A lot of people are going after Daniel Cormier, funny enough, and being like, that's unbelievably unprofessional. How the fuck could you say this? Like, you gotta realize, man didn't say this at, like, a UFC presser, like, on the podium. He was like, there's no one that can stand and compete with Tom Aspinall. Tom Aspinall is not only a talented heavyweight, but he's going to have an extreme lucky run with matchmaking. Like, he didn't say that. He said it to the man himself, to someone who probably fucks with personally. And DC, you have to also understand this. Everyone, except for maybe Dana, I guess, officially, is, like, allowed to be a fan. Like, you can fan out, actually. You'd be like, yo, I really fuck with this guy. Like, Joe will say it. Joe Rogan will say it. John Anik's actually pretty good about that. But John Anik does it in the other way, I think, where he's just like, man's putting in that commentary, that announcer work so much that, like, when it's any dude, it's just company shit. He's going to be like, oh, yeah, I really like this guy's style. There's something about this guy that I really like. This chick does this phenomenally. It's one of her little trademarks. Like, just shit that you're going to say, right? No knock on that, really. And I don't think there should be a knock on it. This isn't like some major, like, faux pas that dude did. Like, I don't know why people are actually even running with this shit so much. I get that it was spooky, but you would also think if you see the footage, right, on, like, shorts, Instagram reels, however you see it, right, that it was, in fact, leaked. That it was, like, someone was recording it on their phone. No, it was edited and put into a vlog. This was, like, released on purpose, essentially, the way I think about it is literally they're mic'd up. The camera's on fucking them. Tom Aspinall himself, it's his channel. They wanted this in the fucking, in the vlog, How would you feel if you were the heavyweight champion right now? You're about to defend your belt, right? People are very excited to see you fight because we barely get to fucking do it. And one of the heavyweight goats is actually telling you, yo, bro, like you could actually, like, really put your name in the books here, and I think you're a great fighter. Like, there's nothing wrong with that. Water under the fucking bridge. What does concern me out of it is, and this is my superstition kicking in, I deadass believe that there's a chance that Daniel Cormier just cursed the motherfucking shit out of Alexander Volkov. He also threw some shots at Volkan Ozdemir, as you just saw, but fuck Volkan Ozdemir. He'll get more shots from me. Ba, ba. And, yeah, I just think Daniel Cormier possibly fucking cursed Alexander Volkov. Like, not like Jailton's going to hear it and be like, oh, I have to prove everyone wrong. It's just, the universe works in mysterious ways. Very mysterious ways. So, Jailton, having said all of that, will probably win by round 1 fucking wheel kick knockout. But I'm still going to go with Alexander Volkov by decision. Moving on. Moving on. Oh shit, the spooky hours continues. The spooky hours continues. Moving on to Umar Nurmagomedov versus Mario Batista. One of the fights that I'm looking forward to the most on this whole fucking card, honestly. Real spooky hours. Fight of the night contender here. Everyone's going with Umar. Mario Batista is such a juicy fucking dog on the books still. I can't believe it. I actually can't believe it. I'm starting to think that I'm crazy. Do y'all remember when Umar fought Merab? I'm not saying Mario Batista's Merab, but y'all remember that, right? Remember how you felt when you watched that fight? You're about to feel it again, possibly. Now, Umar is so fucking skilled that, of course, he could finish Mario Batista. People are saying that Mario, but I've literally seen people say, maybe unless Mario, but they've like, in a long sentence, right, long paragraph. Oh, unless Mario Batista finishes Umar, and then they'll put in like parentheses like LOL or LMAO or some shit. Like, y'all really think that's funny? I hope you keep laughing. It's gonna be crazy in a second. Mario Batista is a dude that really well and truly was developed in the UFC. Man has been fighting in the UFC since he was a 6-0 professional fighter. He's fought really good names, and he's looked better and better. I was a Mario Batista fucking hater, okay, for months. Man got a robbery over this man, Damon Blackshear, I believe, right? It was a close-ass fight. I think he did get the robbery. Maybe he didn't, honestly. Since then, I was hating. I was like, I'm praying for this motherfucker's downfall every single time. Unfortunately, he's just gotten better and better. He's literally just gotten better and better, and it's very noticeable between every fight. Man can grapple, man can strike a little bit. I'd say he's probably a better grappler than striker, but... Excuse me. Physical phenom, unbelievably athletic is Mario Batista. So is Umar, but... I also think, right, if you look through Umar's record, his UFC tenure, there's favorable matchups in there. I don't know how to cut it. Like, there's straight up favorable matchups in there. Umar is definitely a skilled dude. I don't know if these odds are accurate at all. They might be. I might look like a fool for picking Mario Batista, but I'm going with Mario Batista by decision. I think this is actually pretty evenly matched. And motherfuckers were then saying, oh yeah, but Umar gave Merab the most work that he's ever gotten, like, as a champion. That motherfucker Merab fought, like, 50 people after that. Umar has been in hibernation. Umar has been recovering since then. I don't understand that. All of this conviction and my my conjecture surrounding this fight maybe will end up making me look like a fool. But this is just what I think. A lot of conjecture is basing the pick of this fight in particular. Umar Nurmagomedov versus Mario Batista. We're going Mario Batista. We're riding with Mario Batista. Fuck Umar Nurmagomedov. Low key. Trust, y'all don't want Umar to be the champion. I promise you. And not like, there's 100% people that are fans of Umar, and they're like, yeah, what do you mean, bro? Of course I want him to be. I mean, like, it's going to be bad. It's going to be a bad experience for you, the consumer. You, the MMA fan. Holy shit. Moving on. That was the featured fight of the night, so you know what comes up next. The co-main event for the UFC vacant strawweight championship. Virna Jandiroba versus Mackenzie Dern. This is actually quite tricky, I believe. I'm kind of going against what would be common logic here. I'm going to pick Virna Jandiroba by decision. I think that Mackenzie Dern is a little bit stronger, possibly. She is younger. But I actually think Mackenzie maybe has, like, equal mileage. And Virna is like a female... is like a mix between Jailton Almeida on some shit and this man Mario Batista. Like, Virna got so much fucking better with every fight. On the other hand, though, people hate her because of how decisively she wins these fights. Not nowhere near as prolific of a finisher as Jailton Almeida is Virna Jandiroba, but she does win fights extremely decisively. She's very strong. Her ground techniques are unbelievable. I am kind of concerned that maybe Mackenzie Dern is a little bit stronger, and that might translate with a couple of lucky shots. You heard it, yes, lucky shots on the feet, which will sway the fight. This is kind of a vibes pick. I know some of y'all maybe don't want to hear about that, but This is also a rematch. I think the first fight was so far long ago, and the first fight was essentially between two different women completely than the ones that we're going to watch Saturday night. Obviously, it's not like that fight is completely useless. Mackenzie Dern won that fight. But I think back on the losses of Mackenzie Dern, I just think they're questionable. There's so many times where I see Mackenzie Dern, I'm like, damn, she looks like shit. I'm with it to take a chance. I don't give a fuck. Again, mate, I could give a monkeys, mate. I could give a fucking monkeys, mate. I'm picking Verna Jandiroba by decision, mate. We move on to the UFC Heavyweight Championship bout. The main event. Tommy Aspinall versus Cyril Bongami. Good boy. Cyril gone. My air conditioner just turned on and it's 50 degrees outside. But I think this one's actually kind of tricky too. Not for the same reasons. Again, this is going to be a lot of like conjecture. A lot of just talking, thoughts, inference, vibes. Straight up. Cyril Gane arguably lost. A lot of people think he lost to Volkov. Just off of that, MMA math does not work, but just off of that, do you really think that motherfucker's going to violate Tom Aspinall now? Do you think that Volkov beats Tom Aspinall? Ask yourself that. If you say no, I don't know what to tell you. But if you said yes, then maybe you think that Cyril Gane has a chance, which he absolutely does. Cyril Gane is a very dangerous technical striker. Maybe not the most prolific finisher at his weight class with his level of striking, with his striking techniques, but still nonetheless very dangerous, especially the kicks. The kicks of Cyril Gane are very spooky. Very spooky. Man's huge as fuck. He's huge as a motherfucker, even though I think Tom Aspinall might be slightly larger overall. Man has an 81-inch reach. Very spooky, very spooky. Longer than Tom Aspinall's by actually a noticeable amount type shit. By 3 inches. Which is a noticeable amount. But I think there's still so much. It's not like we haven't seen Tom fight. I said that earlier in this video, right? We never see Tom fight. Tom has this will be his 10th UFC fight, I believe. He's 8-1 as in the promotion, under the promotion's banner. I feel like, though, it's a lot of aura, right? It's a lot of aura. It is a lot of vibe for Tom Aspinall, specifically in this matchup against Cyril Gane. Maybe Tom Aspinall hits the John Jones fucking rugby tackles him and taps him. That I could see a lot more easily. But still, even with that, still, even with that, we've only really heard of the jiu-jitsu, the grappling of Tom Aspinall. We saw a little bit of it against Curtis Blades. We did. But did we really? Like this jiu-jitsu phenom shit, like this like cat-like jiu-jitsu, like I feel like we really got to see that. I got to see that. It just might not be real. It might not be real. It might be like Sean Strickland's jiu-jitsu. You ever hear about y'all know about that, right? Sean Strickland, apparently a jiu-jitsu monster. Man has his black belt. He'd be violating people in the gym, and he talks about it type shit. But then when it comes to actually fighting, whoa, shit gets spooky a little bit, right? Might be something like that. I am going with Tom Aspinall here. I'm actually going with Tom Aspinall by round 2. I had it originally as a almost spoke multiple times. My mind is running way faster. I'm literally looking over here and reading off the words and keeping them in my head, even though they're not all correct. I originally had this man, Tom Aspinall, winning by submission. By round 2 submission, actually. Nice little round 1 of striking. Maybe there is a little clinch up against the cage. Ultimately, neither man gets taken down. Maybe a kind of uneventful first round, actually. Second round, shit gets spooky. Tom gets the back. Maybe gets a choke in. Something like that. That's what I was picturing. Now I'm not so certain. Also saw this could be absolutely fucking nothing. It could be just a whale changing the line somehow. Multiple whales. Who knows? It could be Scary Terry working the line somehow. But the money on like Tom Aspinall by sub jumped like in a way that didn't make sense to me. I was literally watching it. It was like plus 225, plus 250, somewhere around there. And then this shit jumped up to like 500. And I was like, hey, whoa. Like, what the fuck? Who just sent Vegas some insider info? That's all we need to know. Who was it and what was it? What was the information sent? Tom Aspinall blew out his knee yesterday? Tom Aspinall broke 3 toes yesterday? What's the vibe? Like, what the fuck is the vibe here? So I'm actually going to switch it slightly. We're just going to go with the round 2 KO TKO. Because I don't think these guys aren't going to strike at all. You know, I don't think it's going to be like the craziest clinch battle of all time, heavyweight clinch battle of all time, or like fucking kind of Francis Ngannou versus Cyril Gane, but Cyril Gane possessed by the spirit of D1 Ngannou. I don't think that's going to happen. I do think that Tom Aspinall will probably likely win, continue being the face of the heavyweight division, possibly give himself more of a reason to be the face of the company, and that'll be it. That'll be it. You'll see him in a lot of promo. You'll barely see him fight, not for his own fault. Obviously, like Daniel Cormier said, maybe the generational run will start after this, but that's pretty much it. I hope to see you guys all there on Saturday for the Smoky Hours Fight Companion, UFC 321 Smoky Hours Fight Companion. It feels like, oh, actually, yes, if you made it this far, stick around a little bit longer, and I will show you a blooper that happened early on in the filming of this video. Blooper. I'm also going to put a timestamp, so if you just look below, you'll see it. Either way, I digress. This is all part of the outro ramble. Some books. I'll pull up these 3 books. Fuck it. If you are curious and you can't read what these books are, who gives a shit? Oh, these aren't the best books, actually. I have to strategically place some books there next time for people to think I'm a bit more interested. But we've got book given to me by the... Actually, no, we're not going to say that. I got this book from someone I know in real life, though. Shit's mirrored. The Norton Book of Nature Writing. It's actually quite nice. Just a lot of excerpts from various naturalists and some specific parts bookmarked by her that she liked a lot. 2 Holy Bible, actually, from one of my classes. Actually a phenomenal piece of literature, though. It's, of course, how could you say, separate religion, separate personal belief from it, but if you do, and you look at this solely as a work of writing, as a piece of literature, it's a masterpiece. It actually is a masterpiece, though. We can talk about that in stream. Pull up on stream, leave a comment below, I'll talk about it, I can talk about it. And then we have one that actually I haven't started to read yet. This one I actually have not started to read yet. I bought it kind of recently. I haven't even really cracked it open. It just sounded super fire. The title sounded crazy to me, but it is this book. I'm not going to say where I got these books, as it's a super hidden gem in New York City. But I bring my loved ones there. I'm not trying to blow the spot. I mean, like, no disrespect. It's somewhere I bring my loved ones there. I bring people I care about there. I can't have anyone going into that spot. But this book, Veil. The Secret Wars of the CIA by Bob Woodward. But I can't speak on this book at all yet. But thank you for watching. If you made it this far, thank you very much. Actually, ended up being a long-ass pick and prediction video. But it is UFC 321 pay-per-view, major card. There were 14 fights, 13 fights now. Should be a banger of a card. Early, I'll see you nice and early. Around 10 a.m. Eastern, I believe that is when the fight starts. And should be great. I can't wait. Thanks for watching, as always. Like the video if you like the video. Dislike the video if you dislike the video. If you dislike my picks, leave a comment below. Let me know. Leave a comment below saying anything on the books, on whatever. Thanks again for watching. Subscribe to see more content. And you already know what I'm about to say. Let me know if the subscribe button flashes, gets rainbowy, whatever the hell, colorful. Jesus Christ, I can't speak anymore. Hype the video if you can hype the video. I don't know why my videos can't be hyped, but If you can hype him, please. As always, much love. Big kiss. Let's just... Oh my god! Fuck, man! Fuck, man. Wow, I actually caught that? Holy shit. Alright. I might actually keep that in the video. If anybody's wondering what happened there. I put down this big-ass notepad, my big-ass notepad with all my notes on it, type shit, and it knocked over the bong. And I felt warm, fucking rancid bong water cover my foot, my left foot. God.